came from Ohio in early 1850s, originally settled down Fulton County, but had purchased a farm here in Warren County in March of 1854. He was thrown on by his horse on the way to pay for the farm, but his widow and children came ahead and settled in Warren County, and his widow was Jane Lee, whose father, James Lee, was a survivor of the shipwreck of the Faithful Stewart in 1785. They came from Ireland, were several weeks overdue in Pennsylvania, and the ship went ashore off of Delaware, broke up on the rocks. Of 44 members of the Lee family, only 4 survived the shipwreck. James was one. He eventually made his way to Pennsylvania, which was their original intended destination, and married Elizabeth Rankin there. Rankin's a very common name here in Warren County, and they're related to him. Their daughter Jane married Ebenezer in Pennsylvania. They had several children in Ohio, came across to Illinois. And it was their daughter Elizabeth Henderson who married Hugh Nash, who was actually his second wife. And their daughter Jenny then married Frederick Coy. Frederick was my great-grandfather.
My aunt and uncle live in southern Illinois, and they met in Paris. And my uncle was one of the D-Day American liberators who just landed in Normandy. He was in the infantry, and they ended up in Paris, and they met in the street of Paris, bumping each other's shoulder, and they fell in love right there. They just was an amazing story, and shortly after the war, they got married and moved in southern Illinois.
My mother and whole family came. They had tickets for the SS Titanic, and it didn't sail until April, so they were there early in March. So they tried, and they succeeded in trading their tickets in for the Mariatana, which left in March, where I wouldn't be talking now. They were very, very sick. They had to come in third class. They could only come up to the top of the ship once a day for a few minutes. They were very poor, and they had a rough trip. There was a storm at sea, and they was really sick. And to her dying day, my mother would always say that she would never go on a boat or a ship again, and they never returned back to Denmark. The old saying was that it was hard for her to take a drink of water. She hated it so bad.
I was born in the southern regions of Ghana, where cocoa plantations are mainly, sited. And my dad took me back home to my home area in the north when I was about the age of 4 or 5. And I always gave him the credit for who I am today and what I've been able to, achieve, because he had a vision. In our culture, that's the Bimoba culture, you don't send your first child to school. It's a taboo, so to speak, because the firstborn son is the one that is supposed to inherit the traditions of the family. He's supposed to be the depository of culture of the family. To send your first child to school is more like killing him culturally, murdering him culturally, and murdering your own culture. But my daddy decided that he would send me to school anyhow, because he realized while he was in the southern part of Ghana, there is not a single person from my village who went to the south that we can consider as a rich person who has become rich from farming under the cocoa plantations. All right. So he decided that he would send me to school because school was what was, that's where the promise was. I am very excited that the United States has given me the opportunity to be able to realize the dream that my daddy, the vision that my daddy first put in me, and because of certain situations coming in, contributory factors like missionaries, intervention here and there, I was able to carry on and to this point. Very few, there's nobody like me from my family, nobody. Talk about it, even a master's degree, the second one is now, the second individual from our family, our lineage, is now doing his master's. There's nobody. It's very difficult to understand. People will never understand how hard it is to come from such deprived communities and to go through education all along. And these universities were sited in the south. And you have to travel all the way to the south to go to the university. And you needed resources. You needed support. It's very difficult for the peasants from the northern part of Ghana to be able to send their children to school and to see that they go through to this point. And so I'm so grateful that where I am.
Me and my husband come from a completely different culture. Even though we are from Ghana, we speak different languages at home. From my family standpoint, we are from the south, he's from the north, we have different language. I speak Fanti, he speaks Bimoba. And we are supposed to be teaching our son. If we spoke a common language, it would be easier. And so the common language you speak at home is English. And so my son doesn't speak my language, neither does he speak my husband's. And so staying in the U.S. with English being a common language and the culture also being different, it looks like we are training our son, I don't know, I'll say Ghanaian American way. It's all a combination of many things. Some things that my husband usually would not do, if we grew up in Ghana traditional, he would do it here. It's like cook and maybe give my son a shower and things like that, which normally would have been done by me, the wife. He does it because both of us are working and both of us, are busy. We are not at home during the day.